Welcome to another session of the Chassidic approach to joy, where we're using the work from Rabbi Shlomo Jeski on how to stay resilient with lots of joy. And let's see here. So today's discussion is on one of the more finer details of all of this, and which is mind control. How to control our own mind. So we've explained that a person should always be besimcha, should be joyous, because he should realize that everything that happens to him comes from God. Nothing is an accident. Nothing comes about by chance, and everything God does is good. So obviously this has to be good. Now, although a person knows that everything comes from God is good and everything comes from God, he could often still become depressed or brokenhearted when something tragic happens. And one of the challenges of this, and there's a time for mourning and there's a time for sadness, but by saying there's a time for it, there's also saying there's an end to the time for that. And as King Solomon says, there's a time for all seasons, right? So when something happens to a person and the person doesn't get over it or doesn't move past it, or in this particular talk we're going to talk about, what if they don't have the intelligence to understand that it's harmful? If they don't understand there's a problem, they may not experience pain. I think of a child when my wife and I had a licensed child care center, and we had a child in the group who had some health issues and he couldn't feel pain. Oh. So he would fall down, he wouldn't cry. He could have a wound and he would say, "Oh, bleeding," and that's it. And so we had to watch him more carefully because he didn't have the intelligence to know that he actually had a dangerous situation, because pain is, after all, a mechanism for us to know there's a problem. Right. So a person, if he doesn't know that there's a problem, he won't necessarily feel it. That in itself could be a problem, but also, the cognition, the knowledge to know the difference. King Solomon says that the more a person knows, the more suffering he experiences, because he's cognizant of things, right? So when a person experiences pain, there's two causes for the pain. There's the painful event, and there's the awareness of the painful event. There's awareness of it. So talking about awareness, awareness of the problem can be part of the pain. But a person also has an ability with that comprehension. A person is capable of comprehending the pain in a situation, but they can also choose not to. That's actually a choice. And that's the subject of Edith Eger's book on the choice, choosing to what your reaction will be to something. So if a person is tuned into an incident that occurs, they can feel pain. If they're oblivious to it, or if they choose not to be aware of it, to think about it, then they can control that and they won't experience the pain at all. As an example, the Motzitzer Rebbe, he was a great Chassidic leader, and he composed many magnificent Chassidic nigunim, melodies, spiritual melodies. And in his old age, he was supposed to go through, he needed an operation, but his illness had progressed to the point where they weren't sure that he would be able to go through anesthesia, because the anesthesia itself might be too dangerous for him. So they asked the Rebbe, "What should we do?" And he came up with a unique solution. He said, when he composes a nigun, a melody, he gets very deeply into the emotions and the nigun itself, and his mind completely goes there. And so he said, "I'll start working on a nigun, and when you see that I'm out of it, do the operation." And so they cut him open and they did the operation while he was composing a nigun, and then they finished the surgery and wrapped them all up. And we still have that nigun, that melody. It's 36 stanzas, but literally he came away from the whole surgery having anesthetized his mind. He wasn't there. he took his mind off to someplace else, and his mind was completely elsewhere. Sometimes we talk about that in you get engaged in something, and you get so engaged in it, time passes, and you completely unaware that you've missed a meal and such, and at some point you wake up from what you're doing and realize I'm starving, right? Because you're so engaged in what you're doing that I saw something the other day about I saw some of the pictures of some of our National Guardsmen sleeping in Washington on the marble floors, right? And I thought to myself that's wow, sleeping on marble floors. But then I saw someone's a commander's note. He said, "Here's the commander can tell the experienced soldier from the newbie, because the experienced soldier will sleep on the cement without a problem, knowing that he may not get a chance to sleep later."
Right.
So he takes the opportunity and he full use of it. So where our concentration is, where our mind is, we can choose to get focused on something that's causing the problems of the pain, or we can remove ourselves from it. We have that actually as a choice.
We have another internal thing to make us oblivion to pain. It's called shock.
Right. Yes. But that's not necessarily a good thing either. But shock can make you oblivious to things as well. But even on a simpler note, there's the story about the guy coming home from work on the subway, and some incident happens on the subway, and by the time he walks in the door at home, he's just livid. I mean, his face is red and is livid, and he's angry, and then the phone rings, and he picks up the phone, and it's an old friend he hasn't talked to in years. And he gets lost in this reminiscence and a conversation with a good friend, and he gets off the phone, and he doesn't even remember he was angry.
Oh, that's good.
So again, our mind, it's up to us. What we can make that choice as to where we want to be. Our mind has that choice. There was a Chassidic story about. Let me see if I can find this here page here.
I've got a good story for you if you want. For that.
Okay, go ahead.
So there was this person who was quite handy, and he bought a fixture or a ceiling fan or something and attempted to put it in and found out it was wrong. He was sold something that wasn't right. So he got angry and stuff like that. And he went back, and I think it was like an Ace Hardware or something like that. And he just told his wife, "I'm going back. I'm going to let them know about what they did and everything." So he walked into the store with the fan, and he was greeted right away with the guy. "How do you do? What can I do for you?" He says, "I bought this fan, and I was told this was what I needed." And he says, "Oh, let me guess. It doesn't work. It's the wrong size." He goes, "Do you have a receipt?" He goes, "No, I don't have a receipt." He says, "Don't worry about it. I can see it's one of ours. What do you need? What can I do for you?" And the guy helped him, and he didn't get one word of frustration out. He couldn't argue with the guy because the guy was just helping him, bending over backwards. He gave him the fan. He says, "And for your inconvenience here's a light set to go with it, so that when you turn it on, you'll have light too." And the guy came home, and his wife goes, "Well, what happened? What happened at the store? Did you let him know, and you got the right thing?" And he goes, "I don't want to talk about it."
He stole
Yes, I
his
got the
thunder by
right
being
fan.
nice to him.
Huh?
He stole his thunder by being nice to him.
It's completely stole his thunder, and he had that in him. Yeah, it could be the same, I guess, with pain too, if you think about it. What you just said with the conversation.
Right.
He was so focused on it and everything that he got so distracted the other way that suddenly he was lost.
Yeah. So we have,
wasn't-
and we can do that as a conscientious choice, or we can let someone else guide us, to the positive or to the negative. It's
Yeah.
but it's a conscientious choice we can make if we make it conscientiously. The Alter Rebbe, the founder of Chabad Chassidus, wrote a sefer called Tanya, and Sefer Shel Beinoni. And in this, the Alter Rebbe talks about when a thought comes up that you don't want to have, you have to push it away with both hands. So this idea of what does it mean, push it away with both hands? So there's a story here. Someone came to visit the Maggid of Mezrich about his problem, and he said that his mind is always straying into places it shouldn't be, and he doesn't know how to control it. So the Maggid told him, I want you to go visit Reb Zev in Zitomer. Go visit Reb Zev in Zitomer, and he will teach you how to do this, how to push it away with both hands. So he arrives in Zitomer at night, and he has some difficulty finding the house. But finally, he comes to Reb Zev's house, and he bangs loudly on the door, anxious to get invited in from the cold weather. And there's no answer. So he pounds again, and still no answer. And he's getting upset. He's annoyed, and he's banging and he's banging, and no one's answering the door. And so, with no alternative, he spends the night outside. In the morning, he tries the door again, and Reb Zev opens the door, and he welcomes him in, and he makes him a breakfast, and he's all warm and kind to him. And now he's kind of like, this is a very different reception than last night. And so at some point in the conversation, he says, and what can I do for you? And he said, the Maggid sent me to you to learn how to control my thoughts. And Reb Zev said, I did that. What? I taught you. He said, when? He said, the first night you came. The first night you came to the door, and I completely ignored the door. I did not answer you. I didn't completely chose not to be responsive whatsoever. And eventually you stopped banging and you stayed there. That's how you do it. That's how you control a thought. There's an example similar to that, but kind of teasing it out a little bit more that Rabbi Majeski talked about. And I remember hearing this from him firsthand, but I always like this. So it's, we have in the brain, there are kind of patterns that run in the brain. And the more frequently you have the pattern, the more frequently that pattern is reenacted. And if it's left to atrophy, then it just kind of disappears. So imagine there's a nudge that comes to the door. And the nudge knocks on your door. You have an option. You know this nudge. You're familiar with this nudge. This nudge is going to, if they come in, they're going to sit down and they're going to hack a chinik and waste your brain, for an interminable amount of time, right? So you could welcome them in, and you could serve tea and crumpets, and you could listen to them hack a chinik for an hour and waste your time and hassle you and everything else. And then you could see them out the door, and they will be back frequently. Or you could go to the door, and you could open the door, and you could yell at the nudge and scream at the nudge and say, you're a waste of my time, and I can't stand listening to you, and I always am upset by the time you leave, and I don't want to hear from you. And you could just yell at the person. The first person enjoyed coming and received well, and they'll be back. The second nudge that you yelled and screamed at, they still got attention. It was negative attention, but they got attention. They were acknowledged. They'll be back, because for some people, negative attention is better than no attention at all. So they'll be back. Third nudge comes to the door, and you decide you're not even going to answer it. Not even going to answer the door at all. So you don't answer the door, and they continue banging and continue banging and continue banging. But eventually they'll stop and they'll go away. they might come back and try it again. But the third or the fourth or the fifth time that they get no attention whatsoever, they will give up. And it's the same thing with a thought pattern. If you will welcome a thought in and you entertain the thought, that thought's going to be back. If you have a thought and then you're angry about having the thought and you have an emotional attachment to having the thought, it's going to be back. If you choose to give it no credence whatsoever, that's the most successful. The challenge becomes, how do you ignore the banging on the door? That's not easy.
That's the hard part for sure.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part. And here's where Rabbi Majeski talked about, the muscles. You have to practice your muscles. You have to exercise your muscles. And the more often you do this, the easier it is to do it. But the other key to this is engage in something else. Don't just stand there with the door being banged on, ignoring it. Don't just stand there trying to ignore the banging. That's not productive. Engage in something completely different. And the more engaging that something else is, the easier it is to ignore the other thing. You may have to turn on some music. You may have to put on a headphone, but the real effect is getting so engaged in something else that the banging at the door doesn't even exist. And that's that's the second hand. The second hand. The one hand is to push it away, but you're still engaged with it. The second hand is actually to engage in something completely separate and therefore being able to completely ignore the other piece. There's a great story about well, I guess that's a great story. There's this Shalom Bayis story, a husband and wife that have some challenges. Every time he comes home from work, they get into it. I mean, he's not even home from work for 10 minutes and they're already fighting. And they're just at their wits' end. And the wife goes to the rabbi to complain and demand a divorce. She wants a divorce. And she just is absolutely livid with the situation. And he, of course, at some point has learned to stop off at the bar and have a drink before coming home because he knows what he's going to come home to. So, he's coming home somewhat inebriated by this point. So the rabbi tells the wife, he says, there's an ancient Kabbalistic remedy for Shalom Bayis. He said, you should take a bottle, an empty bottle that holds 8 ounces. Take an empty bottle. Go to the mikveh after midnight on Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the new month. Fill the bottle with water from the mikveh 3 times and pour it out 3 times. And on the 4th time, fill the bottle, stopper it, wrap it in a bag so no one can see it, and bring it home. When you hear your husband coming to the door, take a teaspoon of the water, put it in your mouth, but do not swallow, do not spit it out. Hold that teaspoon in your mouth until your husband comes in and falls asleep. So with much effort, the woman collected the water and did exactly this thing. And when her husband, she heard him coming in, and he started mouthing off his incoherent stuff. She took a teaspoon of water, put it in her mouth, and she held it there. And the husband walked into the house, and he started shouting, and he's screaming, and he's insulting. And of course, she really wanted to let him have it, but she had the water in her mouth, so she didn't say a word. Husband continued to scream and shout for half an hour or so. And finally, since he had no feedback, he tired, fell asleep. By the time he woke up, he was pleasant. and they had a wonderful conversation. So the next day, the same thing happened. She uses the teaspoon, and she kept this up. But each day, it wasn't 25 minutes of his jabbering. And then the next day it was only 20 minutes. The next day it was only 15 minutes. After a couple of weeks, he was coming home and he didn't say a word. And of course, she was still putting the water, so she didn't say a word. And so things were calm and quiet. And eventually, they didn't even need to do that. So the Kabbalah, the water, no, it had nothing to do with any of that. It was being able to control herself. So he had nothing to react to. Once he had nothing to react to, then she wasn't responding to his reacting either. So it just broke the cycle of their shouting at each other, so that it was a peaceable time, right? So again, it's the same thing with a thought. When a thought enters our mind, that we have the opportunity to engage our thoughts in something completely separate, to disengage from that whole argument, that whole chain of thought. And by doing so, we're able to control the thoughts as well. And if we're not thinking bad things, so then it's smooth. I want to share something with you. Hang on just a moment.
Dr. Switzer?
Yes, come in. I'm just washing my hands.
I'm Catherine Bigman. Janet Carlisle referred me.
Oh, yes. Fear of being buried alive in a box.
Yes, that's me. Should I lay down?
Oh, no, we don't do that anymore. Just have a seat. And let me tell you a bit about our billing. I charge $5 for the first 5 minutes. And then absolutely nothing after that. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Too good to be true, as a matter of fact.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that our session won't last the full 5 minutes. Now, we don't do any insurance billing, so you would either have to pay in cash or by check.
Wow, okay.
And I don't make change.
All right.
And go.
Go.
Well, tell
What?
me about the problem that you wish to address.
Oh, okay. Well, I have this fear of being buried alive in a box. I start thinking about being buried alive, and I begin to panic.
Has anyone ever tried to bury you alive in a box?
No, but truly thinking about it does make my life horrible. I mean, I can't go through tunnels or be in an elevator or in a house, anything boxy.
So what you're saying is you're claustrophobic.
Yes, that's it.
All right, well, let's go, Catherine. I'm going to say 2 words to you right now. I want you to listen to them very, very carefully. Then I want you to take them out of the office with you and incorporate them into your life.
Well, shall I write them down?
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just 2 words. We find most people can remember them.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, here they are. Stop it!
I'm sorry?
Stop it!
Stop it?
Yes, S-T-O-P, new word, I-T.
So, what are you saying?
You know, it's funny. I say 2 simple words, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine. This is English. Stop it.
So, I should just stop it.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to go through life being scared of being buried alive in a box, do you? I mean, that sounds frightening.
It is.
Then stop it.
I can't. I mean, it's been with me since childhood.
No, we don't go there. Just stop it.
So I should just stop being afraid of being buried alive in a box.
You got it. Good girl. Well, it's only been 3 minutes, so that will be $3.
Actually, I only have a 5, so
Well, I don't make change.
then I guess I'll take the full 5 minutes.
Fine. All right. Well, what other problems would you like to address?
I'm bulimic. I stick my fingers down my throat.
Stop it! What are you, nut of some kind? Don't do that.
But I'm compelled to. My mom used to call me fatty.
No, we don't go there.
But I've been having this dream.
No, we don't go there either.
But my horoscope did say.
We definitely don't go there. Just stop it. What else?
Well, I have self-destructive relationships with men.
Stop it! You want to be with a man, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then stop it. Don't be such a big baby.
I wash my hands a lot.
That's all right.
It is?
I wash my hands all the time. There's a lot of germs out there. Yeah, don't worry about that one.
I'm afraid to drive.
Well, stop it! How are you going to get around? Get in the car and drive, you kook. Stop it!
You stop it! You stop it!
What's the problem, Kathy?
I don't like this. I don't like this therapy at all. You're just telling me to stop it.
And you don't like that.
No, I don't.
So you think we're moving too fast? Is that it?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right, then let me give you 10 words that I think will clear everything up for you. You want to get a pad and a pencil for this one?
All right.
Are you ready? All right, here are the 10 words. Stop it, or I'll bury you alive in a box.
I shared this comic piece from Bob Newhart as an example of this concept of mind control, of choosing the thoughts that you want to have. So here's someone who has come into his office and talked about some of their problems, and his simple response is just stop it. Stop thinking that way of thinking. Now, clearly, there are mental health neuroses that do require medications and things like that. But this is a comic piece, and it's not focused on those topic as much as the idea of how often our challenges are brought on by ourselves by the fact that we're choosing to think about something which is not a helpful thought, and that we actually have the choice to think about that. And again, this is also the topic of Ruth Ager's book, The Choice. She is a Holocaust survivor and goes into those some of the details of this and her experience as well. But the idea of choosing what you want to think and how you want to think about things. So hopefully this will be helpful, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.